Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Gia, and I'm going to be teaching you valuable information about healthy relationships. This is my presentation, and it's the first portion. So, the first portion is this video. That's then going to correlate with the Kahoot game that you'll be playing. So, let's jump right in. There are a myriad of relationships that people have that dictate how they interact with the world around them and how they perceive the world. You can have intrapersonal relationships, which are ones that you have with yourself, like your self image, and interpersonal relationships with anyone around you. So, teachers, friends, peers, family, significant others. You can even have relationships with objects, and they're all equally important because they culminate into a blend that is uniquely you. This blend affects how you go about your day to day life and how much you enjoy it. So, it's important to ensure that those relationships are healthy. Plants can't thrive without strong roots, and those roots are similar to relationships. People need strong and healthy relationships surrounding them to bolster their growth and development. Are you unsure of how to classify your relationships? Here are some tips and traits pertaining to interpersonal relationships. Remember, these are the relationships that you have with other people. Healthy relationships have mutual respect. You guys should value each other as people and be reverent of established boundaries. If there aren't boundaries to begin with, then that's step one. You also need trust. You can't get anywhere without having faith in the other person and having the ability to give them the benefit of the doubt. Healthy relationships have foundations of honesty, communication, and compromise. You need to be able to honestly relay your feelings in a productive manner and compromise if one of you expresses that there's something wrong or not satisfactory. Most importantly, you need to have understanding. You can continuously express your feelings, but if the other person isn't digesting and understanding your qualms, then you won't get anywhere. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have unhealthy relationships. Unhealthy relationships are those that are draining and detract from your quality of life. They often have elements of control where one person makes all of the decisions, and dishonesty, where information is hidden or not candid. There's also aggression that can manifest itself into physical violence or disrespect. Another key aspect is an over reliance or over dependence. If one can't live without the other or threatens to do rash things if the relationship ends, then that is a very toxic and unhealthy situation. Overall, many of the traits in the two types of relationships juxtapose each other as they are direct opposites: respect versus disrespect, honesty versus deceit, and independence versus dependence. Now, an intrapersonal relationship refers to the relationship that you have with yourself. There are no external parties involved. This type of relationship can be observed in many ways. Examples would include your character and your perception of yourself. This relationship can be unhealthy if it turns to self sabotage. This could refer to procrastination, poor time management, and even just your internal dialogue. Are you kind to yourself or do you put yourself down? Your relationship with yourself greatly affects your self esteem and confidence. The key to maintaining a healthy intrapersonal relationship is to practice self care and self love. Usually, we are our harshest critics, so it's pertinent to remind yourself that you're worthy and that everyone has their own pace, so don't compare yourself to others. Moving away from intra and interpersonal relationships, there are also relationships that people have with objects. These are relationships that have traits and indicators reminiscent of the interpersonal relationships, meaning that the same unhealthy traits are applicable here. You can be overly dependent on your phone. You can be overly reliant on different food control methods to regulate your emotions or gain a sense of control. You can also have an addiction to different substances. Unhealthy relationships can seep into any aspect of your life, whether it be with people, objects, or yourself. A healthy trait for these relationships would include knowing when to stop or limit yourself. So, for example, knowing when and being able to limit your screen time. So, with that said, how do you fix the situation if you find that any of your relationships are detrimental to you? With other people, you can communicate and try to salvage the relationship by setting clear boundaries and expressing what isn't working. You can try the relationship again, but this time make sure that there's a foundation of mutual respect. If you have the mutual respect and understanding, then the other traits will follow. To fix your relationship with yourself, you can be kinder and more patient with yourself. and stop comparing yourself to others because we're all at different stages. If you have an unhealthy relationship with something inanimate like food or substances, then there are always resources readily available. For THS students, we have amazing social workers and counselors who are willing to help and listen in any way possible. On a broader scale, there are national organizations like the National Eating Disorders Association and Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration National Helpline. Just remember that you're never alone and it's never too late to recognize issues in your relationships and take the steps necessary to fix them. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys learned something valuable today and that you're able to apply it to your life. These are the links if any of you guys are curious. They have all of the images used and all the other materials. So next is the Kahoot game with questions based on the presentation that you just watched. So thank you so much for listening.